on the day of judgment, I will not be asked about the next 100 years. I will be told, Allah gave you the ability to speak. What did you say? Allah gave you the ability to spend. What did you spend on? Allah gave you the ability to think. What did you do with it? Allah gave you this power to do this. What did you do with it? Allah gave you the ability to make change even on the small level, because Allah said, وَمَن يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى. Those who do even an atom of good deed, Allah sees it. Allah will say, show me the atoms of deeds that you did based on the powers that you have, because I know, inshallah, bi'idhnillah, if we ever enter Jannat al-Firdaus, we're hardly likely to ask about this dunya, but rather we will celebrate that no matter how bleak the situation looked, we moved. No matter how bleak the situation looked, we mobilized. No matter how bleak or how powerful the system looked, we still challenged it. No matter when people told us there's no point, we kept going. No matter how many people said there's despair, there's no hope, we were heartbroken, but we kept moving. That ummah that does that is an ummah that will achieve extraordinary things, even if it doesn't appreciate it. Because when I read the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet went through persecution for the first 13 years of his life, in the first 13 years of the da'wah. Victory in Badr, defeat in Uhud, existential crisis in Khandaq, Treaty of Hudaybiyah that Umar al-Khattab believed to be a humiliation. And then the next year he was given Fatah Mecca. But even Fatah Mecca, he didn't see Quds liberated. But he went back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that was sufficient for him to go down as the greatest man to have lived in history. Why? Because he's not measured only by his material gains. He's measured by the spirit that he gave and imbued within this ummah that says never give up and keep moving. It's the spirit that meant France colonized Algeria 132 years, and still after 132 years when the Algerians liberated, they didn't chant, we kicked out the French, congratulate the Algerian state. They said, Ya Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Muhammad mabruk alik. Oh Prophet Muhammad, congratulations. 132 years of struggle and we returned Algeria to you. That's the spirit of the heart that never dies. That's the spirit that keeps the ummah alive. That's the spirit that allows the ummah to achieve glory. So for me, I don't measure the 100 years by outcome. I measure it by the spirit of the ummah. Is this ummah going to maintain this spirit of moving, of mobilizing, of getting back up after every mistake and changing? Or is it an ummah that's going to just wait for something to happen? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one in charge of the outcome. And I believe, I don't know what will happen in Gaza. I don't know what would happen in the next 100 years, but I am proud of an ummah that moved. I'm proud of an ummah that changed the narrative on Gaza. I'm proud of an ummah that has Biden worrying about his election chances. I'm proud of an ummah that has made Keir Starmer worrying about his chances as well. I'm proud of an ummah that keeps talking even though they are heartbroken. I'm proud of an ummah that keeps mobilizing even though their heart might be filled with despair. I'm proud of an ummah that is beginning to see its power. I'm proud of an ummah that Netanyahu is spending millions on to try to silence. I'm proud of an ummah that made Blinken change his travel plans to go to leaders in order to try. I'm proud of an ummah in Pakistan where, despite the machinations of an establishment in order to try to maintain its power and to rig elections, still they managed to deliver independent candidates and break the rigging of the establishment and send the whole Pakistan in turmoil. I'm proud that the ummah is still alive. Never talk about the ummah like it's dead. Don't talk about the ummah like it's weak. We're going through a turbulent process. We're going through a struggle, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in control of everything. Our choice or our decision is not about what the outcome should be. Our decision is about what powers do we have and how can we use those powers, however minuscule they might be. For wallahi, the first of a rain is always a droplet. That drop is what leads to that rain that gives life to the land after it's appeared arid and have nothing on it. It's that first drop of rain that we're looking for. And as long as we keep moving, in my opinion, there's always something to be optimistic for in this ummah. Optimistic in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not necessarily in the outcome. Optimistic that Allah is in control, acknowledging Allah is in control, and acknowledging that at the end of the day, the ultimate goal is that when our soul leaves our body, we have something with which to look at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, say, Ya Rasulullah, I left the dunya in a dire state, but Ya Rasulullah, I was not one of those people who sat at home and did nothing. And certainly I was not one of those people who used to look at Jalal mobilizing and thinking Muslim and tell him, what's the point of these efforts that you're doing? I was not one of those, Ya Rasulullah. I was one of those who kept moving, mobilizing and telling people, go, go, go. They told me the whole world is against you and the system is against you. But I told them, if the whole system is against me, Allah is sufficient for me. And I mobilized mobilize against that. And Ya Rasulullah, here I am with the greatest victory in Firdaus, sitting next to you. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, with the Sahaba as my neighbors, alhamdulillah, with Muhammad Jalil, inshallah, next to me, inshallah, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And this is the greatest victory. And that's why the Muslim is always an optimist. This is where I finish. That's why the Muslim is always optimist. Because even in the darkest moments, the Muslim believes change is always possible, because change is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't ask yourself what the outcome should be. Ask yourself what you can do to be the vehicle to achieve that outcome. And you will find that the opportunity you can't see is just around the corner, because Allah monopolized the outcome for himself. All He asks from us is move, and Allah will deliver the outcome. May the Ummah keep moving, inshallah.